Boruto chapter 55 has finally released and I'm going to review this chapter in this video, so if you want to find out everything you should definitely watch till the end. The chapter named Legacy starts with Naruto waking up from the last fight against Isshiki, and not in the real world but in his brain. He's sitting in front of Kurama and Kurama calls Naruto by his name, and Naruto is obviously thinking that he's dead and Kurama is talking to him, and Kurama says this might be their last conversation, so he wants Naruto to start talking because they don't have much time left. Naruto doesn't know what to say and he's just saying glad that Kurama was around for all the time. Kurama reacts in a really nice way. He shouts at Naruto and says if he's serious and if that's all he can say, and Naruto replies that he's just not used to such situations, and Kurama clears some things up for Naruto. We already know it, but Kurama is saying that Naruto is not dead because Kurama himself will vanish in a few seconds. In other words, he will die, and Naruto realizes that Kurama didn't tell him all the truth, and that makes sense because Kurama says that Naruto would have hesitated because he wouldn't want Kurama to die alone without Naruto, and yeah, that's the typical Naruto way what he would have done, so that's very understandable. The conversation goes on and then Kurama tells Naruto that it's slowly time to end, and Kurama is slowly vanishing. He tells Naruto to be careful because Naruto doesn't have any extra chakra anymore, so he will be dead way faster than before, and Kurama obviously doesn't want that to happen. We see how Kurama slowly vanishes. Naruto reaches out his arm and Boruto grabs his hand, and we see Sasuke, Kawaki and Boruto around Naruto, and they all look relieved. Kawaki says it's time to head back home, and since Boruto is the only one who can bring them back home because he's the only one who can use the portal right now, and Boruto gets a small flashback for what he did to Sasuke, but Sasuke says no worries, that happens, and they all were ready to die, so that's not a problem. In the next panel we see Code waking up and he's tired, he has overslept. He checks the 10 tails and then looks at his hand. In his hand we actually see a karma seal, but it doesn't look like a typical karma seal, it's actually white, and he asks himself how Kawaki could decline the transformation to an Otsutsuki, and if Code would have had the real karma he would love to become an Otsutsuki and get fed to the 10 tails. And here we also see that he has a different karma, but we will get to that later. Now smoke is coming out of his hand and Isshiki shows up. We all thought Isshiki is dead and why he's here, and it's shocking that we see him actually here because it means he isn't dead actually, but he's also not alive. Isshiki says that it is very ironic that he lost all his vessels, but the only one who didn't make it as a vessel is Code, and his soul is inside Code's non-vessel white karma. This is how we called it, and he also says that this karma is Isshiki's form of pure power, and he wants Code to inherit the Otsutsuki will. And this time, as I said a few seconds ago, Isshiki isn't dead, but he isn't alive also, so in a few seconds he will be dead, and this time he will be 100% eliminated. Isshiki wants that Code keeps the Otsutsuki will alive, and he tells him some goals that Code should achieve. Code's goals are feeding Boruto or Kawaki to the 10 tails, eating the chakra fruit, becoming a new Otsutsuki, devouring other planets, and evolving until he's a god. Code does not like the fact that Isshiki will die in a few seconds because he admires Isshiki. Isshiki is basically Code's reason to live, and this is why Code wants to revenge Isshiki, and he asks Isshiki to drop some names. But before we come to the next panel I want to think about the new Otsutsuki that Code will become, and what Isshiki said right there would mean that anyone can become an Otsutsuki if he eats a chakra fruit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a way how new Otsutsukis are born. Now, in the next panel, Boruto fails to make a portal and Kawaki tells him to relax. He asks Boruto if he's scared of Momoshiki, and there is also an epic row moment because Kawaki says he lost his karma and he needed help, and he thinks that Boruto also needs help and will not manage to get rid of his karma. So Kawaki swears Boruto to help him until the karma is gone. Kawaki starts shouting at Boruto, so he teleports him back to Konoha. Boruto gets mad, but he manages it to create a portal, and I don't think that is relaxing, but I mean it worked, so we should not complain here. We see Katasuke asking Amado how Amado thinks everything will turn out, and Amado doesn't even reply. He's thinking, he's lost in his own mind, he's probably just overthinking and worrying about the situation. And finally Shikamaru gets confirmed that they made it, that Sasuke, Kawaki, Boruto and Naruto are back in Konoha, and they look really relieved but also very exhausted. And now we see another epic bro moment because Boruto tells Kawaki that he thinks that everything's possible as long as Kawaki is near Boruto, and yeah, that is bromance. And now we are coming to the last panels, and if you you remember, Code asked Isshiki to drop some names to take revenge on, and he already got the names and he's thinking about them, and Isshiki told him about Kawaki, Amado, Sasuke, Naruto and Boruto. And it seems like Code is transforming to a hitman, and his priority will be to kill these 5 men and then move on to his other goals. And this confirms the next antagonist, and yeah, things will get very interesting. But what I think after reading this chapter is again, in chapter 1 we see Kawaki saying to Boruto that he will send him to the 7th, and this must mean that Kawaki joined Code. But why? I have no idea, and only the future will tell us. But anyways, thank you for watching, like the video if you want, comment your opinion if you want, subscribe if you want, and see you in the next video.